Very good evening to everyone joining from different parts of the world. Thank you for joining us for today's session in Entrepreneurship in Germany and Opportunities for Foreign Nationals. My name is Gautam Pranuj. Let's get right into today's session. Today's session is brought to you by our very own Startups Valley TBI and IEDC Amal Jyothi in association with SRH University and Applied Sciences, Berlin, Germany. Special thanks to Startup Lab of SRH Berlin. For the welcome speech, I request our very own principal, Dr. Z.V. Lahaparambil sir, please.
Okay, thank you. It is a pleasure to meet you once again, even though it is in this type of online mode, because we are always expecting or dreaming of a meeting in offline. But now it is not getting permitted because of reasons beyond our control. And it is a good initiative wherein we two countries will join hands. And I will take this opportunity to formally welcome Dr. Madam Sigrid Peuker, who is our mentor from a German side, and our own representative there, Jishnu, of our ex-alumni, of our alumni here. And I formally welcome our TBA CEO, Sharin Sam, and my colleagues and my friends in other parts of the country also. With this short period, I am not taking much of your time. We are eager to hear from Madam Peuker for more details and informative things rather than hearing many other things from me. And I once again welcoming everybody for this gathering. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. So should I start?
No.
Now I request Sharin Samjos, CEO of Startups Valley TBI, to give an introduction about Startups Valley TBI. Sir, please.
Most respected Principal Professor Dr. Z.V. Lahaparambil sir, today's special and chief guest Sigrid Peuker madam, our own family member Jishnu Jyotish, and all my dear organizers and participants. As far as Startups Valley Amal Jyothi is concerned, this is a wonderful moment because two countries are collaborating each other for a common purpose, for the development of citizens of Germany and India. Startups Valley TBI is really thankful to SRH University of Applied Sciences Berlin for this wonderful initiative. We have signed an MOU. Now we are starting our collaborative activity to support the common man through this webinar. Startups Valley TBI Amal Jyothi is recognized by and supported by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. Now we are looking for, or we have started a new era through international collaborations. This international collaboration will give a lot of output to the common man from India and Germany. This will open a window for the international market, and it will support the technology transfer and to learn how things are working in both countries. Since this will be a great initiative, as far as our knowledge, this era is era of collaborations because Reliance Retail and Amazon are doing same work, and Amazon invested in Reliance Retail. That itself is an example for collaboration. Amazon again investing money in Mahindra and Mahindra's electric vehicle development in such a way that our initiatives, our collaborations, our interactions will give some more output in the specific field that we discussed earlier, especially in organic farming, insect supported farming system, just like olden days, some the farming systems are available in India. Then to develop good quality food, to reach good quality food to common man, Our activities will be expanded to food technology. And another one key area where we can work is sustainable engineering, whether it is solar or wind energy generation. This initiative will again, I would like to emphasize that will open a window for international market and development of new technology. This Startup Valley Technology Business Incubator is really committed and really thankful to SRH University and our society together with German and Indian society will be beneficial out of our collaborations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, moving on, our speaker of the day, M.A. Sigrid Peuker, head of SRH Startup Lab, Berlin. I most humbly request you to take on the spotlight. Ma'am, please.
Okay,
Sure.
so thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to meet all of you online here. Unfortunately, as already said, it's not possible to meet in person. We will do that as soon as it's possible again. And yeah, I would like to contribute to our cooperation, which is very dear to my heart because we have so many Indian students. So India becomes closer and closer to us. And because of that, I think our cooperation, yeah, will be something for both of us. And I will start that, or what I want to do today is to give you a brief glimpse at entrepreneurship in Germany. And yeah, as already said, my name is Sigrid Peuker. I'm the head of the SRH Startup Lab Berlin. And SRH stands short for SRH Berlin University of Applied Sciences. And I'm in entrepreneurship education since 2004, where I started to work with founders at Free University. I think I have worked with more than 200 founders since then. Some of them failed, some of them were somehow successful, and a few were very successful. I have founded and closed a company with some partners myself. So I have theoretical and practical insight. And from all of that, I have learned that entrepreneurial thinking is one of the most important skills that we will need in the future, as it combines so many other future skills, especially some which cannot be replaced by robots or artificial intelligence, like creativity or becoming proactive. So when I was asked to give this talk about entrepreneurship in Germany and opportunities for foreign nationals, I thought, okay, no problem. After nearly 20 years in the German entrepreneurial field, I should have enough insights that I could talk about. I will now try to share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, great. Okay. So, but when I started to make notes for this talk of today, I thought that it would be important to give a bit of cultural background, because it's not that easy to understand the entrepreneurial system in a country. Entrepreneurship is always embedded in culture, in society, in economy, history, and only if we know something about them, we can understand what is special about it in a certain country. This is something which is often neglected. If you want to take or to create opportunities in a foreign country, you have to know what is there, how the people are, how the market is. I had several students from India who had great ideas, but these were ideas for India and not for Germany. Imagine if you only look at the population size, if you offer a service which is needed not often in the lives of people, it still can be a great opportunity in a country with 1.4 billion people, but the business would be hard in a country with only 80 million inhabitants. So I think we want to set up, if we want to set up successful and sustainable business, we have to broaden our perspective beyond the business itself. Observing and reflecting what is going on around us can help us immensely to act accordingly. This is especially true in these times, which are changing so rapidly due to the different factors, among them a transformation to a digitalized economy. So be prepared that I deliver some context where I see that it helps to better understand the situation. I will start with a bigger picture of the German economy, and you can see some facts already on my slide. So Germany is one of the most innovative economies. For a long time, we were export champions. We are still number 3 behind China and the United States. And I assume that most of you think, of course, if you think of Germany, and this makes absolutely sense. And I think we have seen it on your poster that you did for this talk. Vehicles and parts are the biggest field, and then there are machinery or chemical products. And this makes Germany one of the most complex economies. And we will come to that a bit later. So the reason for economic strength and innovativeness often date back a long time. In the case of Germany, there are even researchers who study the influence of the Romans on German entrepreneurial spirit. This is difficult to prove, as this was nearly 2000 years ago. But I think it's a familiar thought to you, because in India, there are a lot of researchers who research about the pepper trade in Malabar and how this influenced not only the economy of that region, but that of Arabian and European countries too, and which played a big role in the discovery of America. So with these examples, you can see that economic activities have very long-lasting and global effects. And now let's get a bit closer to what makes Germany so successful. And I think it's the actors that we have. So we have, of course, global players, you all know them: Volkswagen, Daimler, BMW, Siemens, Bosch, and others. They are very well known. But the real strength of Germany lies in the so-called Mittelstand, which are mainly family businesses in the business-to-business sector. They are, on the one hand, suppliers for the global players. On the other hand, they have own businesses worldwide. Among them, one group stands out. These are the so-called hidden champions. I don't know if you have ever heard of them. These are relatively small, but highly successful companies. They are defined as number 1, 2, or 3 worldwide in their market niches, or at least the market leader in their home continent. They have revenue below 5 billion euro and a low level of public awareness. They are very often owner managed, rarely publicly listed, mainly in B2B, and mostly rooted in rural areas. This is why they are not well known to outsiders in their industry. You see this pen? I'm quite sure that none of you has ever thought about the company which would produce the small parts. For example, the ball at the top of the pen. This is a very tricky thing to do, as you have to be very precise so that the ink runs smoothly. There are years of research and development behind it, and 2 German hidden champions are the main producers of them worldwide, both from the same region, the Black Forest in the south of Germany. They produce for most of the pen brands that you know. And this shows how the number of hidden champions per million makes Germany special. Yeah, per million inhabitants. So in Germany, we have 16 hidden champions per million inhabitant, and this comes up to half of the hidden champions worldwide. So Germany is the smallest country, but half of them come from there. So they create jobs. They are very innovative, and they have become a model for other countries too, as for example, for the Make in India Mittelstand initiative. I personally think that there are more hidden champions worldwide. We know, for example, that there is a growing number in China, but we don't have exact numbers as they are hidden. finding them is always a challenge. There is, of course, a reason why there are so many of them in Germany. Many of the factors are historical and hard to copy. Germany is a small country, and for a long time, the region consisted of several monarchies and free cities being quite fragmented. So whoever produced something and wanted to grow had to internationalize, even when that meant a city some kilometers away. Another factor for Germany's success is that we have a quite good infrastructure. I would like to stress one main factor which could be copied, and that is our educational system with its emphasis on vocational training. And I think that's something which might be interesting for universities and for the educational system in general. So this German vocational training system or dual training system goes back to the guilds and trade of the Middle Ages. It led to many inventions and innovations, especially when young people brought skills and knowledge back from their years of travel. Nowadays, in this system, young people who start working in companies get an education which consists of practice and theory. Practice is done in the companies and it's supervised by trained staff. So the apprentices learn by doing and by being corrected. In parallel, they go to the Berufsschule, vocational schools, where they get general knowledge in their professional field. They work for some weeks in the company and then go to the vocational school, which is specialized on the profession they want to learn. There are vocational schools for cooks, for electricians, for health workers, and so on. The system is regulated by law. The content in the schools is constantly updated, new professions added the moment there is demand for them. Mechatronics is an example which was introduced some years ago. You see that Germany puts a very high emphasis on keeping its workforce skills and knowledge up to date, as this is necessary to stay competitive. This system is applied more and more in higher education too, where students work in companies for several months and then attend a university program. At SRH, for example, we have a dual study program in tourism and hospitality, where students share their time between university and hotel or tourism destination. One might now think that this should lead to more new companies too, as people are well trained and know their market. Unfortunately, despite all these great conditions and a highly skilled, innovative, and committed population, Germany has a low rate of founders. And here you can see that the entrepreneurial activity in Germany, it has been decreasing for nearly 2 decades. So in absolute numbers, this means that we have around 600,000 new companies founded in 2019, around 370,000 were as a main occupation and 230,000 as sideline entrepreneurs. So in these numbers, all founders are included, even freelancers or single person companies. So I think you know other numbers from India, they might be much, much higher. So this decline of new businesses happens despite programs offered by the government, by universities, by companies, municipalities, schools, and so on. And despite that there are many hackathons and business plan or pitching competitions, incubators and accelerators, which support founding teams. So the rates stay low. Why? And this is, of course, quite alarming. Yeah. And it should sound like a great opportunity to found a business in Germany, isn't it? So where should people become active as entrepreneurs in Germany? Which are the fields that we have to address in the future? Of course, we have the classical fields. Yeah, we have hospitality with restaurants. Food is a big issue here in Germany. Professor Sharon mentioned it already. Yeah, so we have a big discussion about organic food, and we have even accelerators which are specialized in the food sector. So retail, mobility, insurance. So these are the more classical fields. And then, of course, we have those businesses which are connected to new technologies and innovation. So these are the startups which are most interesting in terms of growth and future potential. And they have normally founding teams or employees. They are innovative and strive for growth. And they have at least something which is new on the market. So, and I think these are the companies which could at least replace some of the hidden champions we will lose, as there are always companies which could give up for a number of reasons. So from this kind of companies, there were only 70,000 founded 2019. So you can see that this is not that much. And most of them are startups with internet-based or digital business models. So they go into complex fields, which I mentioned in my first slide, saying that Germany is number 4 in complex economies. And you can imagine that this is not an easy field. Yeah, you need a lot of knowledge and experience to find out what you can do. You need good networks and collaborations to get insights into the industries and the emerging markets. And most of these business ideas need a lot of capital. So let's look a bit closer at these technology startups. And I would like to present you now a prediction for future technologies from a German perspective. So if you look at this graphic, you can see number 1 is 3D printing, then biomaterials, robots, autonomous driving. So these are exactly the fields where Germany is already strong, and where I think that there is a lot of opportunity for startups. Most of them are high tech, and most of them need not only one field of knowledge. So we had the cooperation already stressed, the term cooperation mentioned several times today, and I think that's what we are going to do here. If you take, for example, additive manufacturing, you need engineers, you need scientists, you need specialists for materials, you need physicists, software developers, and so on. I think you get an idea of what I mean with complex. The second big field in my list of opportunities was the European Green Deal. Maybe you have already heard about it. So this is an initiative from the European Union. And that's what the European Union is planning. So they want to be the first climate neutral continent. And I expect a lot of changes by this. And I think that the European Green Deal will be implemented on national levels very soon, and that it will bring a lot of opportunities for new companies. Because if you think in circles, you realize that there are completely new business fields which don't exist yet. So I think there are additional chances for opportunities for existing companies and for startups, but of course, challenges too. And the challenges are, I think, we have to be aware that they come with when we go into new fields or complete new industries. So these are some challenges that I see at the moment. So we have new skills requirements. For example, in the automotive industry, there is the growth connected IT services, not only in vehicles themselves, you know that, electric cars, but also in the context of mobility ecosystems. So the industry needs employees or partners who can think and act in an interdisciplinary manner and to have the corresponding qualifications and skills and expertise. Yeah. Then, of course, startups have ideas, but to set something up in a complex field, you need networks or partnerships. Yeah. Industry 4.0 is highly connected and new market players will have to integrate themselves in clusters and industries. This needs communication and collaboration skills and the willingness and ability to actively approach actors, companies, or stakeholders. So these new industries like additive manufacturing or circular economy need, of course, very good technical and science skills, but besides that, they need imagination capability, creativity, and the capacity to act despite uncertainty, which is one of the most difficult things to do. Yeah, if you don't know where it goes. So how do you act? So these are skills and capacities which are not taught much in schools and universities. So I think we have to change something here. As we can see from the numbers of startups, it is not easy to set up businesses in these fields. Yeah, so these were the 70,000. Not even for Germans who grew up here and who have visited German universities or worked in German companies. Nevertheless, I think that here lie opportunities for founders, even for founders from foreign countries. But of course, they are a bit more difficult to realize than just sitting in a student's dorm, writing code and distribute it. This is not the same as the stuff that Silicon Valley myths are made of. So let us see where I see opportunities, or where the challenges are. So it's always difficult to set up something in a foreign country. You have legal, social, societal, economic systems which are unknown, and in case of Germany, we have a very high bureaucracy. So you first have to understand how that works. Of course, there are many things that are similar between India and Germany, or you and us. We have understood that we need to broaden our view away from the business side alone, so that we can integrate sustainability and social aspects like education, health, job creation. In the Post-Draft Today's event, there are cars and trees, and I like that. For me, they symbolize very well what is needed in the future technology. That means technology and nature, as technology helps us to lead a comfortable life, but nature is where we live from. They are no opposites for me. They have to be thought together. There is another aspect which I would like to stress. We are much more connected than we might realize. There have always been connections between countries or industry. And this is in the last sentence of my slide from the European Green Deal, that working with international partners to improve global environmental standards. We have already many global players which look beyond their countries, and I think there is something we can learn from them, that an entrepreneurial ecosystem is local on the one hand, but global on the other. Global in terms of ideas, technologies, processes, solutions, markets, production, and so on. And of course, global in terms of resources which are available. Yeah, so imagine suddenly we have a resource system in Kerala, and additionally one in Berlin. So, and what can come out of that are so-called born global startups. All that comes, of course, with a globalization of people. So we all know that in India, especially, brain drain was and still is a problem. Already in the 60s, 70s, 80s, many well-educated people, especially engineers, emigrated. In the late 90s and the early years of the 21st century, many of them returned to India as prospects in India improved. So this return was called brain circulation. I would like to make a real circulation out of it. So, and this is now my vision of our cooperation and what we can make out of it. I think that there is only one way to solve the huge problems that we have worldwide, and which cannot be solved on a national level or only with technology. We have to think these things together. And that's why I would like to have this kind of brain circulation circulation of knowledge, of experiences, and of visions. So what is it that you can imagine in India? What is it that we can imagine in Germany? And what can come out of it when we bring that together? Or by finding out what the strengths of the students and researchers in both countries are, how can we complement each other? How can we co-create together? How can we take what is there in both countries and make something new out of it? For me, this would be a necessary condition for the beginning of a truly global entrepreneurial ecosystem, where we see opportunities in co-creating a value proposition to solve these urgent problems, and where the solutions can be adapted to local conditions more easily. Yeah, so innovation would then be nurtured from different sources and can be accelerated. And it could lead to new companies in both countries, maybe even with the same teams, yeah, the Born Globals. I think that with the cooperation of our universities, we have a good basis to try some things out, and who knows what could come out of that. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that you have questions or suggestions, and of course, ideas. So I finished my presentation. I'm back to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now we'll have a question answer session for 15 minutes. I request everyone to use this opportunity for the fullest. Do we have any questions?
Madam, we enjoyed that concept of a brain circulation because it's a new concept to put forward. I think we will collaborate in that line. And as everybody knows, some people have some special capabilities. If you look at the Indian situation, we are very good in software and embedded software. And I find that Europeans in general, they are very good in a theoretical knowledge. And we integrate these two, we can do wonders. That is my suggestion. Actually, with that idea only we are collaborating. I think it will find a good time in our life, because since we are not able to collaborate fast, we'll be able to do it soon. I think this idea we have to take forward. Brain circulation is a new concept because we always hear about brain drain and things like that, but it's a new concept which we should nurture. We'll do our nurture.
Yes, and it's not only this, oh, the students go into one country and then they come back, but it's constant. And my circulation, I didn't want to call it brain spiral, but it is like that. That's how I imagine it, yeah? So that we learn with each other, from each other, and that we develop complete new approaches by doing so.
And we have to promote vast ideas. That is something you are telling across globe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so now do we have any questions? Anyone?
Mr. Peuker, thank you very much for the details. I think it's very interesting. I think a couple of words I picked up is the circular economy. I think we are also looking at how that circular economy is very much being point of the talk in most of the areas which we are now seeing into that. In addition to that, I think one of the startup in our incubator has been doing an R&D work for one of the clients in Germany. I think that is in the biospace, and we are connected in that way as well. I think it will be interesting, if we're able to other technological areas, especially we know that electric vehicles, energy sector is really picking a pace in Germany, and then we know that is already in the market, and it is about break through in other countries as well. And yes, there is a need of some platform like yours and then the incubators back in India to connect and then facilitate the innovators across the continent, so that they're able to speed up their innovative activities rather than in silos. So that may be one area definitely needed actually.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I think, Professor Sharon, we have to think about that.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was that you wanted to mention that you would like to initiate such a platform where we can connect. Shiva, was that?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Like, yes, if you're able to bounce the ideas across the two different, regions, and if some of the innovators wanted to collaborate and then, execute that. So because some of the opportunities what we see in Germany may not be virtually existing in India, because some of the laboratory facilities, some of the, already working is already happening in Germany is way ahead of us, especially in EV space. And we know that kind of a support will definitely help us. And maybe, some innovative areas of collaborations can definitely come in that way.
So I had a nice talk with Professor Hartmann some days ago. So he's a professor at SRH and responsible for the School of Technology. And what he appreciates with his Indian students is their pragmatism. And this is something that is missing in Germany. Yeah. So, okay, let's just do it. Yeah. Don't think too much. We are the country of poets and thinkers, and we think and think. And so I would see a lot of things that we can do together.
That is very true, because like startups don't have too many red tapes, like the big established companies, like they need not go through so many approvals process. And like it is, yes, let's talk and then see that something can able to do it. So that's the the power of startups can bring out of the table.
Yes, I think we can learn a lot from each other.
Thank you so much, Shiva Shankar. Any more questions?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Myself, Karthik Suresh from Jyothi. So,
I don't. You are very. I don't hear.
Am I audible?
Yes. Now you're audible. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. My name is Karthik Suresh. I'm from Amal College of Engineering, Cotton. So my question is that, incubation in Germany or finding a business partnership, which is easier? Which is easier and effective in Germany?
It depends what you want to do. Yeah. So if you want to go to an incubator or an accelerator, yeah, you have to apply for one. So we have a lot of incubators and accelerators in Germany, and we have, for example, from SRH, we have a cooperation with an accelerator in Potsdam. So what we are doing is that we prepare our teams, our founding teams, so that they can apply for the accelerator. Because if you want to go to an accelerator, your idea has to be at a certain stage. Yeah, it's not that you can go with the idea itself. So that's, of course, you have to do a lot of work before that. If you find a business partner, finding a business partner could be, yeah, easier. Yeah, if there would be a platform, or if you would look into certain networks, it could be easier to get that, because if you, for example, want to apply at an accelerator, normally you do it already as a team. So I would say first find a business partner and then apply for an accelerator.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karthik. Ma'am, I think you have a question in the chat box.
So this is the last.
From John Tom.
There is one question. I see it now from John Tom.
Yeah.
I understand that the young people are given vocational education to understand business. How do they get to know the market? So on the one hand, they have the theory in the school. Yeah, so this is the theoretical knowledge. But on the other hand, if you work in a company and if you have to do with customers, you know that. So this is the normal vocational training when you are an apprentice. Then you go to journeyman, and then you go to master. Yeah, so the journeyman is that you, for example, go to other companies or get more experience, and the master is so not, please don't mix it with a study program. Yeah, so the master, which comes in the vocational training, these people are explicitly trained. They get an education in how the market is, how they would lead a business. So if you have a vocational training as an electrician and want to open up a business as an electrician, you cannot just do it like that. You have to prove that you know what's in electricity so that you are not a danger for your customers. And that's why you have to do this educational. Yeah, and there you learn not only about electricity, you learn about accounting, financing, and you learn about the market. So I hope I answered the question a bit.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, John Tom. Do we have any more questions?
Ma'am, I would like to ask, how easy or hard is it for a foreign national to set up a business in Germany?
Yeah, so how difficult, it depends on what you're doing. Yeah, so if you set up a restaurant or something which would be quite normal and where there is already a proven track, you get a lot of information and support from our institutions. For example, the Chamber of Commerce, or yeah, they would help you there. And so then it's not that difficult. Yeah, if, of course, and I think that was one of my messages from my talk. If you set up a business which is more complicated, then of course you have find your own way. So then it's more difficult. And as a foreign national, it depends too. So if, for example, if you are a student, if you are a foreign student in Germany, you are not allowed to set up a business as long as you're studying, because as long as you're studying, Germany thinks that your main occupation is to study. And only the moment that you have finished your studies, then you get a job-seeking visa for 18 months, and during that time, you can open up a business. So I had students who wanted to set up a business anyway, and so they either found partners who were European citizens, then they could do it, because you can found a business, you can set it up, but you are not allowed to really work in it, yeah, because when you're a student, you are expected to study. So there are normally ways of how to do it, or at least to prepare it while you are still studying. Does that answer your question, or was it too broad?
I think
Thank you,
that's
ma'am.
it. Thank you, Alphonse. Now,
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Myself, Anu.
Yes.
I'm a fellow student of Amal College. Okay, so ma'am, my question is basically, what is your opinion on the Make for the World approach for startups and entrepreneurs?
It was disrupted what I heard. Can you please repeat your question?
Ma'am, what is your opinion about Make for the World approach for startups?
You mean my opinion about starting a business?
No, ma'am, it's about Make for the World approach, right? We have an approach.
Ah, you mean what you have in India? Make for the World approach. Okay, yes. Now I understand. Okay. I'm not that familiar with the approach, because it's an Indian approach. if I understand it right, its goal is to have a focus on export. Is that right? Yeah. And
Yeah, ma'am.
I think we can see it in Germany. Yeah, Germany was not always that strong. Yeah, although it was always an export nation. And this comes, of course, with some dependencies. Yeah, if you, for example, in a time like this, if you have the goal to mainly export, and the moment that other countries cannot pay what you produce, you get into trouble. Yeah, so I think such an approach, which is on export, always has to be accompanied by something which focuses on the country itself. You can see it in Germany. In one of my first slides that I had, that we are number 3 in export, but we are number 3 in import too. Yeah, so I think there we always need a balance.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Okay.
you, Anub. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, we have. Let me just briefly check. Is there any forums or industrial expert groups to collaborate and communicate to get reliable information about market?
Question. Yeah.
So you have seen that. So that was the question in the chat. The question in the chat. You have seen that I had several numbers from the KfW. So, for example, that is that's a state institution in Germany, and they have a lot of information about the market and about tendencies, and they are very up to date. So there are these forums where you can get information. Some of them, or most of them, of course, is German, in German, but there are some English materials too. So
okay, now
was that already okay? So that was from John Tom. Is the question answered? The expert groups?
Ma'am, it's John Tom. Shall I get
Yes.
some examples? Like
So
the
that was,
and all?
yeah. So here in Germany, each industry has its own expert groups and its own initiatives. For example, Verband Deutsche Anlagen- und Maschinenbauer. So this is a club of the machine companies, yeah, and they all have their expert groups. And it depends on which industry you are interested in, and then you can find the expert groups. And of course, they have information and they are interested in collaboration. I just would have to know which one you're looking for, then I could look it up. Is that, you said an example already okay?
Ma'am, yeah. I think I'll personally contact you for that.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then you ask, shall I know which all sectors are booming past COVID-19? I'm always in trouble when somebody asks me for predictions, yeah, because normally it's hard to do predictions. But I think at the moment what we see is absolutely clear, that is digitalization, yeah, because I think we are accustomed to it. We have learned how to deal with all these things, and of course, I think there are some other sectors, for example, the I see a huge field in education, yeah, because we have seen that IT knowledge is missing for a lot of people, and this goes together with the digitalization in itself. And this is not only post-COVID-19, but this refers a bit to the European Green Deal. I would say that when the emergency with COVID-19 is over, I think we have to come back to our really big problems, which are in the environment. So be it sustainability, be it resources, be it recycling, circular economy was already mentioned.
So, ma'am, we have a question from Achyutanandan.
Yes.
In the chat box. You can read it.
Yes, I wish to know whether some firms will be interested in skill training activities, join electronics and mechatronics, joining with India, how, whom to contact. Yeah.
Yeah. Who asked the question? Okay, thank you. Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Yeah.
TU Braunschweig.
I was in Braunschweig.
Yeah, nice.
4 years back, I got trained when I was young, around 26, 27 years. I got Deutsche English. It was very good. But I set up my industry in India, two factories and one R&D. We export. So now I would like to give back to my country, youngsters, particularly the youngsters, skill training. So somebody is interested in collaborating. I am very much interested.
Mm-hmm.
I made enough money, but whatever it is, I'm interested in giving back to the society. So.
Yeah, I think this could be an interesting thing. Yeah, because to set up something together. So not only to say, okay, this is what Germany does and this is what India does, but to come together and to check what is it, what is needed in both countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 4 years back, so it was good. Even my daughter is also studying in Netherlands. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah. For whom to contact? Probably you can send a mail to me.
Sorry, what?
Probably you can send a mail to me. I will.
Yeah.
I'll discuss with you in detail. Madam, I am very serious.
Okay, I'll try it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Achyutan. Now, do we have any more questions?
Yes. Hi, ma'am.
Hey.
Hey, I have a question. If you become an entrepreneur, what would be your focus area, or what would be the area you would choose for an business?
Okay, so I'm planning to be an entrepreneur soon. Yeah, and because I'll soon retire, and I don't want to. Yeah, so I have to find something else, and I would think that I love what I'm doing at the moment. So that would be in education and these things. But if I were in your age, yeah, if I could start again, I probably would do something else. So I would go into the combination between technology and nature. So that means biology, looking what is there, yeah, what is there in nature, and we have seen that we can get a lot of inspiration from nature and from biology of how to solve problems. Yeah, we have a lot of materials, we have a lot of forms. We had a symposium on additive manufacturing some weeks ago, and somebody from Siemens showed us new forms for turbines. Yeah, and they were inspired by nature. So I think that's what I would do now. I would probably study something in the natural sciences, so like biology or something like that, together with a technical field, so that I could combine these two, and then I would set up a business about that.
That's great.
Thank you so much, Ajin. Now, do we have any more questions? I think we don't have any more questions.
I think we don't, yeah.
Okay, now I request Mr. Jishnu Jyotish, our alumni, now researcher at SRH University for vote of thanks.
I'm not a researcher, but thank you for knowledge. I'm a master student here. So first of all, thank you, Sigrid, for taking your time to prepare this awesome session for us. And I know your schedule is quite hectic, but thanks a lot for this. And I hope it was helpful to all of them. And then thank you, Dr. Rakaparambil, Professor Sharon, and the rest of the team and management from Amal Jyothi for your support and then for putting all of this together. And especially my friends Ajin and Virgin and the rest of the Startups Valley TBI team for organizing this event and helping me with it. And thank you for both them, and thanks for being a wonderful host. And thanks, but not not the least, at last, but thanks to everyone who participated. And then thank you for everyone who gave their valuable contributions in the discussions, and also for the offers, especially from Mr. Achudan. This is what we intended with this cooperation, and this is what we want to start off. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jishnu.
Thank you from my side too. So that was it wasn't first. It was nice meeting all of you again. Yeah. So that was always nice, and I'm happy about how you reacted to the brain circulation. Yeah, because that was something that is in my vision of our cooperation, and I'm happy that it resonated. And I hope that the students will think the same.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jishnu, Sharon, and all
Yes, thank you, Jishnu.
Okay.
Thank you, Jishnu.